All right, everybody should see some type of a message saying that we are recording. So everyone has their cameras off, or at least most people do. Let's turn them on if you have them. Just to be interactive. Tonight's something that I want to make sure that I can see people's faces, understand if you're getting it, right? Nodding along, things of that nature, right? So if you do have a camera, let's turn them on. I'm gonna try and change. Something's going. Why is Dimitri the only one I see on my screen now? Participants, my screen. Hold up. Let me try to change my view a little bit. There. Multi-speaker. Right on. All right. Now I can see everybody. Cool. Hi. Woohoo. Nice to see you guys. Right on. So I've got it in a view that if you start talking, it should kind of highlight you. So please feel free to ask questions. Stop me if you miss something, right? We need to make sure that we're all together for this. I am recording, so I will post the video. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. So can you all see my Revit screen?
No, you're not screen sharing.
No, you
Yeah, no.
cannot. Let me do this. Now can you see my Revit screen?
Yep, that came through.
All right. Good deal. So before we've gone here and gone to create a new model using our template, tonight what we're going to do is we're just going to go down to here, go to get to your splash screen, and we're going to click this new button under the families header, right? So families and new. And what we're going to do is you'll see a bunch of different templates that show up. And we want to choose the furniture template. So once you find furniture, go ahead and click open. And it will bring you to something that looks kind of familiar, but also a little bit different, right? So this is what's called the family editor. Does everyone have that open? Give me thumbs up. I'm going to be asking for lots of thumbs up tonight. Okay. So
Uh,
just
where did you go for that? Sorry, I accidentally logged out.
so go ahead and open back up here. I'll just open it from scratch. So I
Sorry.
just go to Revit 2024, open a new session. And instead of creating a new project, when we're at this splash screen, we're going to create a new family, and we'll walk through that right now.
Cool.
So again, it takes me a second to load back up, but here you go. Here's a splash screen. So it should show your recent files over here, right?
Yeah.
On the left here, instead of going to new model, we're going to come down to this families and click new.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And then come down here in the template and we want to choose furniture and click open. That work for you?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that so I don't have two of the same thing open. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. What do you guys notice that's different? What do you see that's the same? Um,
Say
it
like I
looks
just say like architecture or anything like that at the top.
right.
The same
You don't
ribbon.
see any of the architecture, the systems tabs, right? So all the tabs that are used to draw walls, maybe conduit, maybe duct, right? If you're in the systems, anything in your systems tab is not here, right? That is kind of proprietary to Autodesk, which owns Revit. Um, and you can build system families, but it's a little bit more complicated. So what we're going to do is just build a normal furniture family, and this is just like if you were to go and search on any of the Autodesks, load Autodesk family and grabbed a table, right? Ultimately, this is where they started from, is this blank screen. So let's talk about this a little bit. We've got a couple different things we want to look at right now. We are in the reference level. Okay, so if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see floor plans reference level. You'll also see ceiling plans reference level, right? So if I talk about reference level, it's going to always be the floor plan. Okay. We're not going to be dealing with anything that's ceiling hosted. What this means, our reference level is essentially at 0 right now. And you can see that in our front view in a second. The ceiling plane reference level is at 7'6". So it's much higher up. We're just going to utilize a normal one. We're not building a light fixture. That's what you would use the ceiling plane for. Okay. So we're going to use this reference level. We're also going to utilize this front elevation view. Okay. So if I click on this front elevation view, we are now looking sideways. And this is that reference level that we are looking at in our plan view, right? So that is at 0 feet, 0 inches. So this is the ground, essentially, right? So if you drop this in, anything that's touching this line is going to drop in at right at the floor, ultimately. If I had it raised up, something raised up in here a foot, it would drop in a foot off the floor when you bring it into Revit. So you could change like an electrical fixture or an electrical outlet, right? I never put one at the floor. They always come in at 1'6", or if it's an above counter outlet, it's going to be like 3'8" or 4'0", right? Or 3'10", depending on what it is. So I'll build that so that way when I bring that family in, every time it'll automatically start at 1'6". If I need to change it, sure, it can change, but I'm not going to bring it in at 0 and then have to elevate it every time, right? So with a table, though, which is what we're going to be building today, we are going to end up having our legs touch that floor, right? So let's go ahead, and then the last view, and again, you're not going to see anything in here, but we'll utilize this 3D view, and it's the same kind of 3D view that we've used in our normal Revit projects, right? It's where you can pan, tilt, zoom. Again, there's nothing here. You can see this view cube move, right? But once we get some content in here, you can see what's going on. So let's go ahead and go to the reference level on our floor plan. Again, why don't you go ahead, and I don't know if you saw this, but I collapsed the ceiling plans to make this reference level not show. So if you want to, you can do that. It won't let you delete them, but at least this will make it a little easier so you don't accidentally get on the ceiling plan reference level. So double click on there. Again, it'll be at the top and it'll be called reference level. All right. So the first thing we need to do when we're building a parametric family, what does parametric mean? Anyone know? Has anyone looked into that a little bit in some of your readings? Nope. Okay, cool. So I could build a
means
family.
that, take a window, for instance, you can go in there and change the parameters of it.
Exactly. There you go.
Change
Right.
it to the size you want it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And that's all it means is it means we're going to set up a framework that will allow this to stretch and flex. Okay. So if I give it a width of 6 foot, it will be 6 foot. Right. And so we're going to talk about how to set that up tonight. It's a pretty cool process. Okay. We could just do this. I could just come in here and grab an extrusion and do something like this. Yeah, that's good. There's a little square. 3D view. Why am I not seeing it? There you go. And I could build a little table using extrusions without locking them to any plane. And could I load it into the project? Absolutely. But what it would be like is AutoCAD, and it would be like a block in AutoCAD where once you make that size, it stays that size, right? There's nothing telling it, hey, you have the ability to stretch, flex, change size, change height, right? So in order to do any of that, we need to build what's called reference lines, okay? And so what a reference line does is a reference line is kind of like your skeleton. Okay, so let's talk about the human body for a second. So a reference line is going to be like our bone structure. Okay, it's going to act as a skeleton for our box, right? Or our table, right? So what it does is once we connect these reference planes with these dimensions, the dimensions become like muscles and they allow those planes to get shorter and longer and move. Okay. And ultimately, your skin is that exterior and it's going to match whatever needs to happen to make your arm do whatever you need to do. Right. So it's a bunch of different frameworks of skeletal lines that we will then lock a bunch of geometry to and give dimensions that will allow it to stretch and flex. Okay, kind of cool. Is it complicated? A little bit, right? But it's not as hard as you think. So what I want to do is I want to start by learning the reference plane command. So reference plane, R and P, right? Pretty easy. That's going to be your keyboard shortcut for the night, right? So what I want to do is these reference planes, if you click on them, we have two reference planes that are in here by default. And what these reference planes do is you can see that this is center, left, and right. And this is center, front, and back, right? So we're looking down, we're in a plan view. Okay, so these planes are really important to our project or our family because everything is going to revolve around them. Okay, so this is 0.000 in AutoCAD, right? It is the origin point. Can we move that origin? No, we can't. We can move where we place it later, right? But that origin is going to be fixed. Okay. And we want it to be fixed because I don't want to have a family that stretches and flexes and all of a sudden this thing grows and it's 100 feet to the west because it's not locked around center. Does that make sense? So we're going to use these two planes as our center planes, as our guidelines. Okay. So we're going to not only use these, but all the other reference planes that we draw. So RP is the keyboard shortcut. It is way easier than trying to find how to draw a reference plane. Okay. You can do it. It's in here, create reference plane, reference line. No, it's not a reference line. It's a reference plane. It's this right here. So let's not even go through the ribbon every time. Let's just go ahead. RP, reference plane, pretty easy shortcut to remember. We're going to use it all night. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and draw a reference plane. So RP, and I'm going to draw, don't worry about how far away you are. I want you to draw, within, it looks like these are automatically set to about 10 feet by 10 feet. So all of our work will pretty much be done within the extents of this line work. So, but I want to go ahead and draw a plane from left to right, somewhere above this line. Again, we're going to dimension it. We will move it. It's all going to move around. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but, somewhere 3 feet, 3'6", 4 feet away, right? And what I want to do is I want to click on this plane and you'll notice that a name comes up. And when that name comes up, you can click into it and start typing. And I want to call this back of table. Okay. So, and that when you click off it, it'll disappear. But when you click back on it, you can see what it's called. Okay. This is just going to help us reference the same lines. We're going to draw a lot of reference planes and naming them and telling you, hey, dimension between the back of the table line to the center line to the whatever line, to the front of table line, right? Is going to help rather than dimension from reference plane to reference plane to reference plane, right? So it just gives you a little bit more context and control of what these are named, and so we can call them out. All right, so there's one reference plane. Let's go ahead and draw another one down here. And this one I'm going to name front of table. All right, we're going to draw two more planes. Can anyone guess the next one?
Left.
Left of table. You got it, right? And then last but not least, let's go ahead and draw one more. And we will make them called right of table. All right, so you should now have 4 new reference planes that we drew. One called back of table, one called front of table, left of table, and right of table. Okay. We could have called it sides, but then it doesn't, I want to be able to differentiate between the side of the leg versus the side of a table, right? We're going to be drawing legs, all types of other stuff. All right. So, and if any of your lines don't cross each other, you can go ahead and grab the end of it and drag it so it does. Okay. So I want you to make sure that all of your lines cross each other. It's just going to help you for the next step. And give me a thumbs up when you have something that looks like this with crossing lines and your 4 new reference planes. Awesome. Cool. Give it 20 seconds or so. Is there anyone that's struggling with any of this yet? Just drawing those lines is pretty easy. The biggest thing that you want to make sure you do is these lines need to be straight. Okay, this can't be at an angle. We need to draw straight over and straight up and down. So if any of your lines are crooked, you can take the end of it. Let's see. Yeah, once it's drawn, you can't do anything about it. So go ahead and delete that and just make sure that you draw straight lines. Everything needs to be straight so we can dimension against them tonight. Okay, if it's even a 0.01 of a degree off, it won't let you snap a dimension because they are not parallel, right? So, all right, we good to move on? Next up. Tom, you good? I can't hear you. Tom, you're muted if you're talking.
Sorry. For some reason, I keep trying to name the first line we created, and I click in the click to name, and then it doesn't.
So you just click in and then just start typing.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share your screen if you want.
I'm sure I did something.
Here, let me stop my share. Stop share. There you go. So literally, if you just start clicking, just start typing.
Yeah.
So that's the back though. We want that to be the back of table.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. But it's really important that we name the right lines of the right things, right? Because if I tell you the dimension from, okay, have you already used that?
Well,
Okay,
I tried to type it in, I thought before, and
hit cancel. Okay, go click that line down there. That's called front of table. Okay, click your middle line. Did you rename that one? That's center, front, and back. Okay, click the back line. That's right of table. That's already. Oh, you got a little tiny plane in there. It's like it's
right here.
minuscule. Just hit delete. Hit delete right now. on your keyboard, and then grab that line and just stretch it because you already named it. So just grab one of the ends, you zoom in on it so you can grab the node. And then just stretch that out. There you go. Zoom out and you can. All right, there you go. Now you've got a backup table. So
Okay.
stretch that across so it touches all the lines and then you're good to go.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else have any questions before we move on? Thank you everyone for your patience tonight. I know it's going to be a little bit of a learning process for everybody. So I do appreciate it very much. All right. Next step, what we're going to do is before I get going on the next set of lines, we're going to start and we're going to look at how these interact with each other. Okay. So how might we go about moving these lines? What will we need to do to tie these together?
Share your screen again.
Oh,
Grant.
good call. Thank you. Screen one. There you go. Share. So what might be a way that we could control these? You know, maybe a certain distance off of another.
Annotate.
Okay, it's part of your annotate tab. Right here, let's put in a dimension, okay? So we're gonna put in an aligned dimension. Every dimension tonight, I wanna use just this normal aligned or DI on your keyboard. And we're going to dimension this first from the left side to the center line to the right of table reference plane. Once you click the third time, again, you can click anywhere in a white area and it will set that dimension. Okay. Again, I'm going to do that one more time. We're going to go ahead and click the Align Dimension tool, or DI, on our keyboard. We're going to click the left of table reference plane, the center left right reference plane, and then the right of table reference plane. Once we've clicked all three of them, we're going to move our mouse to any white area and click to set that dimension. All right. So this one we did, how many lines did we connect with this one, with this dimension? 3 reference planes, right? So now with the next dimension, okay, I want you to dimension from the very left of table to the very right of table. We're going to skip that middle dimension. Go ahead and set that dimension as well. And I want you to go ahead and hit escape twice so it looks something like this. Again, it doesn't matter if your dimensions match my dimensions. They're all going to match in 2 minutes. Okay. All right. So you'll find a similar theme tonight. If we do something once, we probably have to do it again, right? It's a table, things are stretching left, right, okay? So same thing as we did across here, but I want to work down the left-hand side here. So we're going to go back of table, center front and back reference plane, and then the front of table reference plane. Click that, set that dimension by clicking anywhere in the white. And then we want to run a dimension from the back of table reference plane all the way to the front of table reference plane. Bring that out and set it. And I'd like you guys to set your dimensions how I have them, where you've got the littler ones on the inside and the bigger one on the outside. Okay. You'll see why in a little bit. And if these numbers get really, if this is too big for you, if you feel like these numbers are too large, maybe you could change the scale of this. Okay. So I dropped it from a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, and that makes those dimensions super small. So if you get to a point that that the dimensions become unwieldy to you, you can drop them down. Okay. Because we're going to be adding more reference planes, more lines. This is just the beginning, right? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. And does everyone have what I got here? Yep. Cool. Tom, you good? I think I saw a thumbs up, but no.
No, I'm not, but for some reason I'm having trouble.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
I wonder,
Share your screen.
I wonder if I have another reference plane in there or something.
Okay. Go ahead and share. We'll take a look at it.
Fine, yeah.
While we're doing this, I want everyone to go ahead and do a file save as family, and then just save this family wherever you want to save it and call it construction 246 table.
You got my screen?
I do have your screen. Hold up just a second. I'm looking at mine to save this real quick. Desktop NB admins. Construction 246 table. All right. Yep.
Do I have a
Yeah.
second?
What do you got? Yeah. Delete that. You got another plane going.
That's
How
what I
many
thought.
planes you got there? Delete that one.
I don't know what I did at the beginning.
Oh my gosh. How many planes? Click and delete that one. Delete that. There you go. There's one reference plane. Okay.
Oh.
I want you to do something for me real quick. I want you to
Yeah.
click on that reference plane. I want you to right click. And I want you to select all instances visible in view. We have 6. That's how many we should have.
Okay, so
Okay.
now go.
So we're good. You don't have. So let's go ahead and dimension. No, what are you doing? Don't draw any more reference planes. No. That's what's going on. You keep trying to draw reference planes instead of dimensioning. So you want to dimension from the front back one. So not that one. You already dimensioned that. You already dimensioned that going left, right? We need to grab the other back of, hit escape. We need to grab the back of table reference plane. So that's the left of table. Okay. The very back reference, or you can grab that front one first. That's fine. Click that one. That's fine. Now go click the center reference plane, the one right up from it.
Up here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then that one, then bring that to the left. Okay, set it right there. Go ahead and click. Now grab the bottom one and then the top one. So that one right there.
This one?
Yes. And then all the way to the back of table. That's your, so do you understand how these reference planes are working?
I'm just probably having
We're looking down, right? So front
Yeah.
is towards you, or is screen bottom. Back is screen top. So we want to do from the front plane. Nope, that's the right plane. That's going up and down. We want to do planes that are going left to right. Nope. Okay. Okay. Stop, please. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying, not just start clicking. Okay. Hit escape. Okay. We need to dimension from the very bottom reference plane, which is your front. There you go. Click on that line. Now go to the very top reference plane and click that one. And now set that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. We need to make sure that we're really paying attention tonight, guys. Okay. All right.
Hey, Graham, I got screwed up on mine.
Okay, let's see it.
All right, let me share my screen right quick if I can. Let's see. This part,
Okay.
right?
So hit it. You're trying to draw a reference plane. So hit escape. You've already drawn your reference. Or have you? Yeah, you hit escape.
It won't do anything.
Okay, well, you're hit escape a couple times. It'll do something.
There it goes.
Keep hitting escape, please. Okay. You're doing the same thing that Tom was doing, where you're drawing more extra reference planes. You got one up above you, Yep, that one. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, were you able to name your reference planes?
Yes, I did. I, when I when I made the vertical one, well, I made the horizontal one first, and then when I got to the one that's going vertical out to the left, that's when everything started going haywire on the inside of.
Okay, so let's use your dimension tool, your align dimension. And click the top line, the middle line, and the bottom line. Yep, that plane. That one, yep. And then that top line. There you go. And then
And
drag
come
it to the
out.
left, drag it to the left, drag it to the left. There you go. Up inside of the other dimension. So it should look, there you go, right there.
Click.
Well, you
And
clicked it. No, you clicked. So go ahead and click that line again. And when you need to move your mouse to a white area, every time you click, you're clicking that line and you're just taking the witness line off it. Go ahead and set it right. Move your
okay,
mouse up, please, so it's not highlighting that line. Move it
click
off of the reference plane. Okay.
off to here.
No, you need to go back and click on the reference plane. Go ahead and click. Now move it way up. Now click again. Thank you. All right. And then do the same thing for the top three. So the three lines going left to right. So we need one going from the very left to the center to the very right, and then one going from the very left to the very right. Okay, now,
Come up.
yep, and then click right there. Okay, now very left line to the very right line. Yep. Nope, not the center. Don't grab the center this time. Go to the very right line. And drag that one above the other dimension. Above it at the top of your screen. Keep going up. Right there.
Click.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello?
Hi.
Graham, yeah, it's raining very hard next to my house, and I think my electricity is about to turn off, so I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Well, I just had some flickers too. So if we
I did.
if we
I
lose
did.
you, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up. All right. Let me take the share back. And we'll share the screen. All right. So if you struggled with getting those dimensions or getting your reference plane, I want you to just go ahead real quick over here and do the same thing. One down. You can even put a center in, a third one in. Okay, and then we would dimension from the left to the center to the right, the left to the right, and then the top to the center to the bottom, and the top to the bottom. Okay, so if you're struggling with that, please make sure that this isn't the first or last time we're going to do this tonight. Okay, so please work on this. Okay. All right, let's go to the next step and we're going to look at dimensioning. So right now we have these dimensions set up, but they don't mean anything to us because they're not controlled by anything. Well, we're going to change that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dimension here, and again, I don't care what it is, what your dimension length is, but we're going to click this dimension. And up here, you'll see the modified tab. The modified tab comes up in the ribbon, and you'll see this label in the middle, right? And it says label and it says none. And if you click the drop down, there's nothing there. Okay. What we need to do is we need to make a new parameter. So we're going to click this create parameter button to the right of the none tab. And that's going to bring up a parameter properties menu. Okay. So it should already be set to a length and grouped under dimensions based on you're adding a parameter to a dimension, right? It's automatically giving you that category. The one thing it wants us to tell it is a name for this, right? So I'm going to call this table width. If I can type. Table width. Now, you'll notice a couple other things. Everything here is pretty much filled out for us. We could change it to a different grouping, but it makes sense to leave it under dimensions. It's a family parameter. Okay, so we use parameters in the industry that are shared parameters. That mean that if we applied a length to it, we could use a length tag later, and it could tag more than one family. They're all reading the same length parameter. For us, we're just going to utilize family parameters. We're not going to get too crazy into what a shared parameter is. That's a whole nother Revit course. But we do want to make sure it's a family parameter, and we want to make sure it is type-based. So does anyone know what type-based versus instance-based does?
I would assume that type means it applies to any time we use this family as opposed to instance, which would be maybe just for the one-time use.
Okay.
Something like that.
You're on track. Yeah. So what the type parameter is going to do is we're going to be able to call this like a coffee table. And I could name the type a 3x5 coffee table, right? And I could type in 3 foot by 5 foot, all these parameters, and it's going to, every time I create that 3x5, those parameters are going to be there. It's always going to be the same. I could also build something using instance-based parameters, which maybe I just said wall art, right? And maybe in this location, I want it 42 inches wide by 24 inches tall, right? That's what fits this area. And maybe over here, I want it 72 inches wide by 3 feet tall, right? But I don't have to create all these different types. They can just be an instance by instance based, right? They would all still just be called wall art. Okay. So pretty basic, but we're going to be using type parameters. Okay. So table width. And when I click OK, it will now say table width in this properties, right? The one other thing that it now allows you to do, whereas before, like if I come over here and click this 7'5", well, I can't do anything with that 7'5", right? I can try to click on it. It's not doing anything. Now that I made this a parameter, this actually can activate, and I can type in a dimension in there. Okay, so I want you to activate that parameter, and I want you to type in 8.
So Graham, when you asked us to go to the ribbon, I didn't see that part in my ribbon where it said none.
So you need to make sure that, so did you click on your dimension has to be selected. Okay. When you click on the dimension, now my label says this because I assigned it, but yours should say none right now. If you click on the dimension, this will pop up.
Hold on.
So before we do anything more, I want you to click on the next dimension down, not this top one that says table width, but I want you to click the one underneath it. And when you click this dimension, this little EQ symbol will show up. It might show up somewhere funny. You might have to move your other dimension to find it. Okay, but we want to click this bottom one and make these equal. Okay, and it might stretch things out. It might change things. Don't worry about it. It'll all come back. Okay. Did you find where that label was?
No, I did not.
Okay. Let's go ahead and have you share your screen. But if we can't keep up, we're gonna just end up needing to watch the video because we've got a lot of stuff to go through and we're already a quarter of the way done with the class, right? So
hey Graham, can I bring something up real quick?
Yes.
When we're in the Zoom window, your screen gets small. And to try to read the ribbon where you're at,
okay.
if you can slow down just a little bit so I can follow your cursor, that
Sure.
helps a lot because
can you make
go
sure
real
that when
fast
you're
through that.
in your Zoom, can you make sure that it is set to like the immersive view, so that way it doesn't go smaller.
Immersive.
Yeah. It
Well,
should,
your screen's gone, so
well, because I stopped sharing so
hide
Steven could
video.
share
Okay.
his.
Okay, there we go.
So I don't know if that will help, but you need to keep my screen big. The other thing you can do is you can pin my screen as your primary screen, right? So it doesn't go smaller.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Steven, go ahead and share. Okay, Steven, you're muted and I'm not seeing a share.
I lost my entire screen. I'm gonna have to. I won't be able to keep up on this one. I'll just wait till the video comes out and follow it.
Okay. Sorry that you lost your screen. I don't know.
It's all right.
Okay. We good to move on? Get these parameters named? Okay. So this top one, we wanted to click into it. We came here and created a new parameter.
Hey,
And we
Graham,
called
can you
that
share your
parameter
screen?
table width.
Share your
Should I
screen.
do that again?
Can you share your screen, please?
Yes, I can. Can you see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just go back just to make sure everyone has this. Oh, sorry. Okay. I can't delete it once it's created. So I went here, I clicked this new button. I created a parameter, a family parameter, type parameter called table width, and clicked OK. And then it now will look like this, where it says table width and then reads out whatever that dimension is. Now that that dimension is there and it's got a parameter of table width, we can click into it and literally type in 6. And that will bring those left and right reference planes in or out, depending on where you had them. Okay. Again, your dimension underneath this should be set to equals distance. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep everything centered around this center point. So as this table stretches and flexes, the center point remains the same. Okay.
You originally said 8 feet though, instead of 6, just so
I did. Sure. 8 feet.
Sorry.
Put it to 8. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, yeah, I don't care. I was just trying to move it. Mine was at 8'2", so I wanted to show that it actually moved. If I moved it to 8 foot, it wouldn't. You guys couldn't see it actually move, right? So I just went in 6 feet, 8 foot, 4 foot. I don't care what it is, right? It could be 2 feet for all. It's all going to end up all being parametric. Okay. All right, I'll set it back to 6 feet just because that's where it was nice and cozy. All right, so just like we did with this top one, we now need to set the left-hand side dimension here that goes from the front of table reference plane to the back of table reference plane. We need to give that a parameter as well. So if we click on this dimension and we come up here to create this create parameter button, we're going to go ahead and type in table length. All right, the other one's table width. This one's going to be table length. Okay. And then last, let's go ahead and set this one. If you chose 6 feet, great. 8 feet, I don't care. But before you do that, go ahead and make sure that you select your inner dimension and set that equals distance. Okay. And so I'm just going to set both mine to 6 feet by 6 feet. And you can see that those have nicely moved. So this is the basics, right? This is the basic skeleton framework, okay? The reference planes are, and these dimensions are your muscle framework, right? So that's allowing it to stretch and flex and move those bones, okay? So we're going to need a lot more dimensions and a lot more reference planes to do what we need to do. However, I want to go ahead and just get you familiar with an extrusion, okay? So let's go ahead and go to the Create tab. And I want to create an extrusion, right? So this create extrusion, pretty self-explanatory. And what an extrusion does is it allows you to create a 2D area, right? Whether it be a circle or a square or a triangle, and then take that and drag it up or down to create a 3D object. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click this extrusion button. Now, I am purposely there are lots of ways to do what we're about to do. The method that I'm going to show you yields the highest success rate, okay? I could come here, click this, click the corners of these lines, and go and click these lock buttons, okay? That is an option, but it's not an option for tonight's class, okay? We are going to use the align and lock method, not just the lock method, okay? What this does is it ensures that we are aligned and locked to the correct reference plane. Nothing is, once we get more reference planes, it gets a little bit more convoluted and jumbled. So I want to make sure that we know how to move and align this geometry, okay? So what I want to do is I want to create a rectangle and just create a rectangle kind of from the middle of this quadrant to the middle of this bottom quadrant. And I want you to hit escape twice. Okay, so we're still in the extrusion command. The only way we can get out of the extrusion command is by hitting this X to cancel or this check mark to finish the extrusion. Okay. So, but right now, if I just built, some random square, this isn't locked to anything, right? So as that geometry, as our muscles control these reference planes and allow them to stretch and flex, we need to attach those muscles and attach that framework of the extrusion to the skeleton, right? So then that way it can actually move with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my align tool. Okay, so this tool right here, AL on your keyboard. Okay, it's this align tool. And I'm going to go ahead and use the align tool to choose the line that I want to align to. In this case, it's going to be the back of table reference plane. And what I want to align, which is going to be the side of the extrusion that's nearest that reference plane. Once I click the second align click, it's going to move this line, and then a lock button is going to show up. When that lock button shows up, I want you to lock it, just like Tyler. Anyone got that? Right? Tyler, lock it. Got to make sure we do it. Okay, so hit this lock button. If you don't hit that lock button and we just align to the framework, when that framework moves, the geometry is not going to move with it. Okay. So next one, align to the right side of table to the right side of the extrusion and lock it. The bottom or the front of table reference plane to the bottom part of the extrusion and lock it. And last but not least, the left side of the table to the left side of the extrusion and lock it. Okay. Once you have done that, we can hit escape twice. to exit the align command, and then hit this green checkbox. Now, before you do that, if you've done it, great. I don't care. I just wanted to let you know what's going on because we're going to look at this in a elevation view. But right now, by default, it's telling you, hey, I'm going to start that extrusion at 0, and I'm going to extrude you 1 foot up. Okay, so that's where we're getting the height of our default extrusion. I could change this right now to start at 3'6" and go to 4 feet, and it would make a 6-inch extrusion starting at 3'6" high, right? So don't worry about this right now. We're actually going to leave it at 0 and 1 feet because we're going to set reference planes that will allow us to change the height. Okay. But go ahead and click that checkbox. And now, if we go to our 3D view and we go here to this family types button. Okay. So you've got a yellow folder, right? It looks like a file folder. And then right below that, you've got the 4 blue squares. That's the family types button. And when you click this, the family types menu is going to come up. And guess what? Those parameters that we put in there are right here in the family types. Okay. Let's go ahead and just to make sure everything's working, I want you to type in 2 and 2. And go ahead and hit apply. Okay. And if we hit apply, it's going to take these properties, apply it to this type, and leave this menu open. Okay. If I hit OK, it's going to apply the properties and close this menu. So if I click apply, you'll see that whole thing shrink. Right. Maybe I want to make it 10 foot by 10 foot. Or maybe I want to make it 10 foot by 20 feet. Okay. Again, click apply. And now you can see that that's stretching and flexing, and it doesn't have to be a square, right? We could make it 4 feet by 6 foot. Okay. Pretty cool.
Can you do that one more time for me? Like start from your 3D view. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So I just reset it back to what it was, 6 by 6, which is what we were seeing right here in my reference level, right? That table width of 6 and the table length of 6 as well. Okay, so in the 3D view, okay, you'll notice that it looks, average size, right? I wouldn't say it's small or large. It's going to come in, but you don't really know how big it is right now, right? We could I could lock this view and put dimensions on it, but I don't want to lock the view. So if I come to this blue button, right? So go to the modify tab and the 4 blue boxes, which is the family types. It will pull this family types parameter window up. I can then type in a length of 2 feet and a width of 3 feet and click apply and watch that change. And if everything's locked, it should change. That work for you? Yeah. So let's go ahead, just make sure it works, and then let's set our table to, let's just do 8 feet by 8 feet is a good size for what we're going to be working on. So ultimately, we built our tabletop right now. This is going to be, we will elevate it, right? If I go into the front elevation, you'll see that right now that tabletop is it's a foot thick and it's sitting at 0, right? I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, we're going to worry about building some legs and some other reference planes. It's pretty easy to elevate this later. Okay. So let's go back to the floor plan reference plane. Okay. And now that we have these nice dimensions on the top and the left-hand side, we want to utilize the next set of dimensions to be on the right hand and the bottom. Okay. So this whole thing is laid out for a reason, right? That's why I was wanting you to make sure that you're putting these dimensions kind of where I have them. So then that way there's enough open space for you. Okay. If you put them kind of left and right and just do this, it gets really jumbled. You get the next dimensions up there. All right. So we are going to draw 1, 2, 3. We're going to draw 12 reference planes. I know, that's a lot. Okay. But it's not too bad. So what I want you to do is in the left-hand side, I want you to draw 3 reference planes. And it doesn't matter how far they are apart right now. Okay. And then on the right-hand side, I want you to draw 3 reference planes. And yes, we could take a reference plane and we could copy it a bunch of times. If you want to do that, feel free to. The only problem with copying them is if you've named them, it will keep that name and it'll call it backup table 1, backup table 2, backup table 3. And now it gets really kind of confusing, right? So I just like to just draw a new one. It's pretty easy to draw the reference plane. So now that we drew these 3 on the left-hand side, the 3 on the right, we're going to draw 3 on the top half. And again, I'm just hitting escape between, and you don't even need to hit escape, but there we go. So there are 3 reference planes below, 3 reference planes above, 3 reference planes to the right, and 3 reference planes to the left. And you'll notice right here that I have 12 reference planes now in my properties. Okay, so I'll give you a second to get that done. Again, make sure that your reference planes are straight up and down or left and right. If they do have an angle to them, it will cause a hiccup in your dimensioning. All right, and then once we have them all on there, we're gonna go through them and we're gonna name these as well. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you've got it, if you need more time. Okay, cool. Looks like we're doing good. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and name these from essentially left to right. I don't know why that one just disappeared on me. That's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and name these, and I'm just gonna name these with acronyms. Okay. So I'm gonna call this one LLL, left leg left. Okay. The next one I'll call LLC. And then the next one I'll call LLR for left leg right. So left leg left, left leg center, left leg right. We go just to the right of our center line reference plane. This will be RLL, so right leg left, RLC, right leg center, and this will be right leg right, LRL. Okay, so just going back through that, we are going to have our left leg left, left leg center, left leg right, our normal center, the origin plane, our right leg left, our right leg center, and our right leg right. All right. Now let's go ahead and we'll start with the very top one. Okay, again, we're not renaming any of the reference planes that we use to create the table extrusion, just the new ones that we're using for the legs. Okay. So we're gonna name this one, the top one, back leg back. Back leg center. Back leg front. And then we'll name this one front leg back. front leg center, and front leg front. Okay. Do they absolutely need to be named? No. I just find it's helpful when you have an issue with something and now we have a name for that reference line, right? Okay. Any questions on what we've done with all these new reference planes? It will all start to make sense once we get some dimensions on them and start controlling them. All right. So let's go ahead and I want to dimension the, so using our dimension tool, DI on our keyboard, we're going to dimension the left leg center, left leg right, set that dimension, and then we're going to dimension left leg left to left leg right and pull that out. Yeah. All right. Has everyone got some type of a dimension for those three? Cool. Let's go ahead and do let's do these three from the right. So right leg left, right leg center, right leg right. And then the overall size. And then just like we've been doing, we're going to do the same thing with these three at the front of the table and these three at the back of the table. And again, it does not matter what your dimensions are, right? They will all be ironed out once we create some parameters. All right. So the cool thing about parametric parameters is once you create one, you can use it multiple times. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to come down and first off, let's go ahead and click these inside dimensions and just set them to equal on all of these. So all these inside dimensions that dimension from the left side, center of leg, right side of leg, front, center, back. Let's make sure all those have equals dimensions on them. All right. So now we've got this dimension down here, and I want to click this outside dimension, and I want to come and create a new parameter. And I want to call this leg width. And once I've created the leg width parameter, I can choose my second parameter on the bottom here, or the second dimension on the bottom. And instead of creating a new parameter, I can click this drop down and go choose the leg width parameter that we just created. Okay. Any questions with that? Pretty straightforward. We're going to go ahead and now this one, you could call this leg length. However, I'm going to call it leg depth. just because it makes more sense to me as a depth than a length. But the table isn't, we're not. So anyhow, we'll call this depth or length. I don't care which one you guys use. What do you want to use? You want to use depth or length? Let's just all be consistent.
I like that.
You like depth. Okay.
Yeah, let's do depth.
Okay. So I know it's kind of changing things. You've got another one called length, but really, like if you talk about the length of a table leg, you're probably talking about the height, right? So we're gonna use width, depth, and height for those dimensions. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and click this outside dimension. Again, we're going to create a new parameter. And this one we're going to call leg depth. And we will assign leg depth to the other one on the right. And let's go to, there's a couple ways we could do this. You can click into here and just type in 1, and it will change all of them to 1 foot width, and or change both your depths to 1 foot. And you could click into the width and type in 1. You could also come to your properties and actually physically type in 1 for the leg depth and the leg width too. So either one of those methods works, but I want you to go ahead and make them 1 foot. Okay, for that. So it's a big beefy leg right now. Okay, we'll change it. We'll make it right, but we got an 8 foot by 8 foot table. We need a beefy leg on that thing, right? All right, so the next and last parameter that we really need to set in this view, I should say, because we still got to do some more reference planes and dimensioning in our elevation view so we can change some height parameters and change the table height. But the last thing that we really need here, we've got our leg width and depth. We've got our table width and length. The only thing left we really need is our leg offset. Okay. So we're going to
Your leg what? I'm sorry.
our leg offset. So the how far in is that leg from the edge of the table, right? So let's go ahead and dimension. Again, using our align dimension tool. And now this time I want to dimension from the left side of the, you're always going to dimension to the nearest reference plane. So we're going to go this left line to here and set it. The right line to the right side of the leg and set it. The front of table to the front side of the front leg. And then the back of table to the back side of the back leg. And once we have those 4 dimensions, we can click any one of them and come and click the new parameter button. And we're going to type in leg offset. Now I could do a leg offset with the leg offset length, but I like my corners of my table to be pretty symmetrical. I don't want it to feel like, hey, why do you have a 2-inch gap overhang on one side and a 6-inch on another, right? I want that. So I'm going to keep all of these offsets being controlled by the same parameter. So I will select the 3 other dimensions that we did from the outside of the legs to the edge of the table. And then I will assign them to the leg offset dimension.
You went a little faster at the end for me, but I don't know if anybody else.
Okay, I can do that again. So let's go. Where are you at?
I got the measurement, the 0. I'm in align dimension right now. I've got the 2 bottom ones done, and we need to do the same to this one over here, right?
Yep. So click into that dimension and then create that parameter called leg width. And once you've created here, I'll just delete that so we can, once you've created one of them, you can choose this other leg width parameter, and just instead of creating a new parameter, you can just assign it to the leg width. And then same thing for your leg depth. So if I change this just slightly. Assign both of these to a, and I already made it. So, but you would create a new parameter, call it leg depth, click OK. And then you can take your other parameter, your other leg depth measurement, and apply that parameter to it. And now they're all being controlled by this. Leg depth controls these two, leg width controls these two.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so like I'm not as far along as you guys because I messed up on a step and I had to go back and redo it. But so like when I click here and then I go to equals, do you know what this is? Dimension tool
Toggling the
equal.
dimensions will over constrain this. Yeah, because you've got it multiple. You need to just delete that dimension and start over. I don't know what you've got going on, but you've
Oh, so like delete this one altogether.
delete it all together and then dimension between those two. Now, do you have a dimension above it? Zoom out.
Yeah, this one's equal right here.
Well, okay, but that's not what you're supposed to have equal right there. So you're not
Oh,
you're over constraining. That's what I'm saying. So you've got like you're trying to do it twice. So I want you to look at my screen, okay? And what you're doing right now is you're doing it twice, and you're doing it on both sides of the leg.
okay. So I only needed to do it either on this.
So the left hand side of the left hand in your top side was for your table length dimension and your table width. That's the only dimensions that should be on the left and top sides. So get rid of that one and the EQ.
Oh, this
So
one
hit
right here.
escape. Yep. Hit escape. Click that, delete it. Click the other one right there and delete it.
Oh, this one.
No, to the left. You've got a 1 foot dimension.
Oh,
Delete
that
that.
one.
You don't need any of those small dimensions on the left or the top.
Oh,
Only
okay.
on the bottom and the right.
Okay.
So go delete the 1'5" and the EQs at the top.
Okay.
Delete.
This one too.
Yep, delete that. Yeah, all of them. All
Okay.
those small ones on the left and the top.
Okay.
And then your top, you still got ones set up. So delete, hit escape. You still got those 1'5" dimension and the 10-inch dimension.
Oh, okay.
So delete those.
Okay.
So the
All
only
right.
dimensions you should have are the table width and the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
equals ones.
Okay.
So now set that to equals. Okay. Hit escape.
Then
Hit escape. Just click
yep.
that six. Hit escape again. Click that one. Set it to equals. Okay. And then now, do you have a leg depth parameter created?
I had like leg width. I was kind of going with this one, but this
So
one's
just
also
go ahead and
like
click that 1'5",
yeah,
and then now click the drop down, the label none drop down,
yeah.
and then go assign it. Nope, no, you're not going to create a new parameter. We're going to choose one we've already made. So click
Okay.
that drop down and then go apply the leg width to it.
Okay.
Okay. And then now so now click that 1 foot. Now create a new parameter here, and we're going to call this one leg depth. Okay, and then go apply that parameter to that 1'4". So go ahead and click that one and then click the drop down and apply it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Now
I think
you
I'm
should,
where, am I right where you guys are?
yeah, you're right where I'm at.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll go ahead and we're going to do the offsets.
Oh, hustle. Somebody is raising their hand.
Oh, yes, Steven.
Yeah, I was curious. I was trying to find that equal button. How do you get to where you can see the EQ and equal it out? I mean,
So if it's a dimension that has 3 or more, witness lines.
oh,
So let's share my screen again. So I'll just put right here. So like this one right here, if it only has 2, right,
Mhm.
an endpoint on each end, I can't click and make anything equal to each other, right?
okay.
But if it has the center point line, right, this one's 2'11", this one's 2 5/8. If I click this, now an equals button shows up because it can make this
'Cause
side equal to this side, right? If it's
'cause it's
just the top and the bottom, there's no equaling each other.
oh, I see. I see.
And so I can click that equals button and it'll move that center line to the center of this measurement.
Okay. I was want to ask you, since you're going to be putting the video out, would it be all right if I cut out of here kind of early to
That's
someone
fine. Yep, no problem.
Okay, somebody got stuck in the elevator, but the fire department got them out. So.
Oh, well, you know what? I've been stuck in there's the Symetra building in Bellevue. I have been stuck in the parking garage elevator twice. Get
I'm
this. So I'm on my way
claustrophobic.
out. I'm on my way out. I get stuck one day. I use the SOS phone, whatever. They call up somebody in New York because that's where the head of Otis is or whoever elevator it was. They get my information, an hour later, finally a tech comes and they get me out of there. 2 or 3 weeks later, it happens again. And I call and they're like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Graham." They're like, "Thompson?" It's like, yeah, that's me. So
All
yeah,
right. Well,
don't get yourself stuck in an elevator. It's not
okay.
fun.
I
I
got
want to
stuck
email
with 9 plumbers one time. That was fun.
Woo!
and
10
you're
of
in
us in the elevator for an hour and a half.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd rather be stuck with 9 or just by myself.
One guy didn't like it too much. Everybody else was kind of chill, but
Yeah. I was all right by myself, but it was kind of weird. I fell asleep. I was just like laid down. I literally woke up and they're opening. It's like, "Oh, sweet, you guys are here." It's like, well, might as well make the most of my time in here. Quick
yeah, this was
napping.
across the street from the Amazon Orbs with McKinstry, and we
Okay.
ended up prying the doors open and climbing out. I videoed the whole thing. It was pretty cool.
All right. So can you guys see
All
my
right.
screen again?
Yep.
All right. So I'm just going to delete these dimensions. If you have them, great, leave them. If not, I'm just getting back just a little bit so we're all on the same page. So we should have, just to recap where we're at, we should have a table length dimension on our left with an equals distance dimension that is controlling the length of the extrusion that we built. We also have a table width dimension on the top with an equals that's controlling the width of the extrusion we built. And then we have all of our reference planes that are going to control the legs. Okay? And we have the leg width that's going to control the left side of the leg to the right side, set up with a left, center, and right set to equals for all the legs. Does that sound right? Any questions? All right. So let's go ahead and get the next 4 dimensions on here that we need to. Again, you might already have these because we kind of started this, but we're going to go ahead and dimension from the very left edge of, or the left of table reference plane to the left of leg, left leg reference plane, and set it. The right of the right leg to the right of table reference plane. And we will set that dimension. We'll dimension from the front of table reference plane to the front of front leg reference plane and set it. And then last but not least, the back of table reference to the back of back leg back reference plane. Once we have all of those dimensions in there, we are able to go ahead and just choose one of them. I'm going to choose this bottom left one. And I'm going to come up here and create a new parameter. And the parameter name is going to be leg offset. And I'm going to go ahead and click into that leg offset and type in 6 inches. And so it'll set this left leg 6 inches from the left edge of the table. And then when I select these other 3 dimensions, I can go ahead and apply the leg offset parameter to them, and everything will now have a 6-inch offset from the table. And if I wanted to change that offset to 2 feet, I could come into here and just type in 2. And all of a sudden it moves those legs way in with a 2-foot overhang. Okay, so I'm not going to keep it at that. I just want to show you everything's moving, stretching, and flexing together.
What did you want the offset to be?
I want the offset to be 6 inches.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we are about 50% there, maybe a little more. Okay, so why don't we go ahead? I think now is a good time. If we want to take a break, now would be a good time to take a break till 7:30. Grab some water, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do, and then we'll go work on putting some legs on this table. So 7:30, I'll see you back here. If you want to just hang out and have any questions, that's fine too.
Big offset. I have a question. Does this look right?
Yeah, here, let me stop my share and you can share.
I got like this one.
The top 11-inch, you just need, not that one right there. Apply the leg offset to that.
Okay.
But it looks like, okay, yeah, that, did you actually get a piece of geometry on there? Did you do the extrusion?
I don't think so.
Okay. So let's go ahead and while we're waiting, let's go ahead and do that. So I want you to just take your dimensions and like drag them either up or right or left or bottom. Just clear out that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All of them.
I mean, mainly the top width right there.
Okay.
The table width and that EQ.
Yeah, it's a little messy, isn't it? Yeah. Let me move this up even further.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little better. The other thing we can do too is now that it's like that, go ahead down and take your scale from 1/2 inch, and you could take that on the left-hand side right there. You could take that and go to like 3/4. No, don't go to 6.
Yeah.
You'll never see them. 3/4, it's about 5 from the top.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That'll just make them just a little bit smaller so you can squeeze them in there a little bit. All right. So I want you to go to the Create tab. And I want you to click that extrusion button. Okay, and then go click the rectangle button, like you're drawing.
Oh no, I think I did this.
Well, I don't see. So then hit escape.
I don't know. Maybe I
extrusion.
deleted it somehow or something.
Well, go hit that. Go hit the X, the red X in the ribbon, and let's go look and see if you go to your 3D view, and we'll look and see. I don't see anything, but
Yeah, view.
Yeah, you don't have anything there.
Yeah, oh, man. Okay, that sucks.
That's okay. It takes 2 seconds to get this back. So let's go to Create, Extrusion, make a square. And this time I want you to make a square. I don't want you to be on those lines. Yeah, just right there. Right there to the bottom. Perfect. Right there is awesome. Right there. Click it. And then hit escape. Don't hit that checkbox yet. Hit escape.
Yeah.
Hit escape again. And we want to align this. Right. We're going to align and lock. So we're going to align this to the very top line. Yep. And then lock that. Lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it, lock it.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Like Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett. Yep.
That's what I had a picture of Tyler Lockett on my coworker's computer for about 3 years because he would forget to lock it. And it's like, dude, you just got.
Yeah.
All right. So now go ahead, hit escape.
Yeah.
Hit escape again. And now you can hit that checkbox.
Yeah.
And now you've got some geometry there. So now if you go to the 3D view.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we've got that. So now let's just make sure everything's locked correctly. So go to your 4 blue boxes, the property types. Nope, don't. I don't want you to stretch it. Don't go stretching it. Go to the 4 in your ribbon. There's the type properties.
Oh yeah, that's right
there. Yep. So now just go ahead and change that table length and table width. Just change it to like 6 feet.
Oh, come on. Dang it.
And then if you drag that type menu out of the way, just drag it to the left. Yeah. Now if you click apply, you can watch that change. Cool. Everything works. So that's what we want to do. And that's one of the biggest things is when you're building parametric families is that you test them throughout it, right? If something doesn't lock and you don't know that until the end, you're just fighting this massive troubleshooting event, right? So I always test and make sure that my things are stretching and flexing and my geometry is locked the way I need it to.
And this looks right?
You're perfect. Everything else looks great.
All right.
Yep. Looks good.
All right, I'll stop sharing then.
Cool. All right, do we got everyone back? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. All right, can you see my Revit screen with my table on it?
Yep, you're good.
All right. Okay, so just like before, again, we could do this in a couple one-step solutions where you place a rectangle extrusion over the top of these lines and it kind of auto finds it and you can lock it. However, I do want to just do this one at a time. It just makes it repetition. It's good for you to learn, right? And it's good for it to not always try to auto snap, right? Because who knows what other reference plane was in there? Maybe you have another one that you didn't know about, right? How many times did we see that today already that we have, try to draw another one or try to draw something else and you end up with, 4 reference planes on top of each other. So this just makes sure that you are truly aligning to the plane that you want to, right? Giving you the most control. So now we could do this in 4 legs at once. However, I do want to just keep us getting familiar with our tools, and we're going to build one extrusion at a time. Okay, so we're going to build this top left leg, and then we'll build the top right leg, and then I'll let you guys do the bottom two legs. Okay. So let's go ahead. Same thing as before. We're going to choose an extrusion. Now, by default, we talked about this a little bit just based on the properties, but when you click this extrusion button, by default, it wants to draw you a 1 foot tall extrusion starting at 0. Okay. And for us right now, that's absolutely fine. Okay. I don't care that it's the same depth as the other one. If you want to draw it at 6-inch top, that's fine. Okay. If maybe you don't want to see lines overlap, I guess for let's just do that. Let's do it 6 inches for everybody. That way it stays the same, and you'll see it when we go to the section view. It's a little easier to tell where the leg top is because it's not on top of the other line, right? Okay, so 6-inch depth height. Again, we're going to set other reference planes and align these and have the height controlled. So I'm not too concerned about what this actual depth is, right? We're not going to have a 6-inch table leg. That's way too tiny, right? So we're going to change that later. So I want to go to the rectangle tool, and I just want to draw a rectangle inside the four, I guess the four closest squares to the edge of where the leg should be. Does that make sense? So you've got 9 squares in each grid. It's going to be the 4 closest to the inside corner. Okay. And once you draw that, hit escape twice. And then we're going to use these reference planes to align and lock. Align and lock. So it's where we want to align, what we want to align, and lock. And then last but not least, to the back of the leg, align and lock. So once you have all 4 of those locked, we can hit escape twice and then hit that green check to finish the extrusion. And now you can kind of see that extrusion right there. And since we aligned and locked it, if I go and change my properties of my legs, so maybe make this 6-inch depth and 6-inch width, when I click apply, not only do these reference planes change, but that geometry should move with it, right? It's locked to those planes, okay? And maybe, maybe I want a different offset, right? Maybe with that leg being so small, then I only want a 2-inch offset. So you could change that, right? So I'm going to set it back to 6 and 6 for now. But it doesn't matter what it is because we're gonna create a bunch of types that are the same. So I'll set this a 6-inch width, depth, and offset on an 8-foot by 8-foot table. So once you've done your first extrusion, we're gonna go ahead and go to the top right, and we're gonna do that same thing, right? So we're gonna use the create extrusion. Use our rectangle. Now this time, I'll go ahead, I'll let you guys try it. If you want to click this top corner, and then you want to click this bottom corner of the inside 4, right? When you do that, all 4 of these locks will come up. Okay, so if you want to try that, click the top, drag it to the bottom, and then all 4 of those locks will come up. Okay, if for any reason that doesn't work for you, let's go back to what we were doing and just aligning and locking it, right? That is the tried and true method. This works, but it's not without some hiccups sometimes. But either way, they're both going to stretch and flex because they are locked to the reference planes. So again, I'll show you one more time, leg width and depth. And now those legs get bigger, but they still stay in the same position with the offset. Right. All right, let's go ahead. Has everyone got at least one of those extrusions done? So if you've got one of them done, let's go ahead and create the other three. So I'm going to walk through this third one. Again, extrusion tool. I'm going to choose a rectangle and click on the inside this time because I like this better. And align and lock. Align and lock. Align and lock and align and lock. Double. Escape to get out of the extrusion and a check mark to finish. And last but not least, we will finish with the final table leg. Align and lock. Align and lock. Align and lock. And align and lock. Couple escapes and check mark to finish the extrusion. All right, so we're about 85% of the way there now. We just have to figure out how to control the height. We've built all the reference planes in the X and Y direction. We've built all of our extrusions. We have built all of our parameters that control our reference planes, right? So all we need to do is put in a couple reference planes in our elevation view, and then we can start creating some types that will actually work as a whole table. Because right now, if we go, this looks cool in this view. However, when I go to my 3D view, you'll notice that this really doesn't look like a table yet, right? And a lot of times when you're in Revit, you don't worry about that height extrusion until everything in your X and Y is done, right? That last height extrusion is, we're going to set one reference plane, align, we'll set two or three, I guess we'll set two reference planes, align this to it, and we're done. It's not, I mean, you're not stretching and flexing, you're just moving one direction, which is up, right, or down. So there's not all these equals distance parameters to keep things centered around that initial midpoint of the object. All right, so where are we at? Does everyone have 4 legs?
I had to go back a little bit. So I've got that green bar on my screen. I must have forgot to hit the check mark somewhere and I'm stuck. Can I share real quick?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're still in. So whenever you're in a green bar error like that, go click on the green tab.
I just thought I tried that. Oh, and then I gotta hit the check mark.
And then you got to hit the checkbox. Except you didn't finish your sketch. So hit quit sketching. Yes. And we're just going to start you over with a new extrusion.
Okay, I got it from here. Thanks.
Okay. Here, keep your screen up. Let's make sure you get one of those legs right. So create extrusion. And then now go to your square. Perfect. Right there. Escape twice. And then align. Oh, so hold up. That one you were trying to align to the center line. So make sure you're hitting that far edge. So there you go. And now lock it. Go click that lock. There you go. So it's always a lock, right? That lock is super important. Where you want to align, what you want to align, then lock. Right? And I like this process because it always, and then go ahead and hit escape twice and hit the checkbox. All right, and now do it again. And we could do it all from the same extrusion. However, if you have to edit it, it gets really whacked out because all the legs try to move together in one. So this works a lot better. All right, perfect. Lock, lock, lock. Nope. Okay, so you missed that first lock. That's okay. You can still align and lock to it again if you want. But yeah, that lock is and that's and that right there is why I had my coworker at a picture of Tyler Lockett for multiple years because he'd build these families for me and then it'd be like, hey, dude, I dropped that light down and the pendant didn't go with it. It's like, I forgot to lock it. All right, hit the back to your green modify tab and then the green check box. Perfect. All right, go ahead and build your next two legs and I'll take the screen back.
You gonna take it back now?
Yeah, I'll take it back right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Is there anyone else that doesn't have something with all four legs drawn that are being controlled by their reference planes? Cool. All right. So we want to go, let me share the screen. All right. Can you see my Revit? All right. So I'm going to go now to the front elevation. Depending on what type of family you're working on, it might be you might use like a front and a left elevation, right? For us, all we're doing is controlling height parameters. And if there's only one type of parameter that I need to put in an elevation view, I want to put all of those in the same view. Okay. So we're just going to use our front view. All of these are the exact same because we've got essentially a table that's can be stretch,
Compatible.
flex, whatever from the front.
No.
So let's go ahead. Right now, you'll see our reference level. You'll see this little guy right here, which is leg number 1, right? Now, you'll also notice that if I drag this line real quick, there's also a leg number 2 right behind it, right? So
I don't
that's
have I don't my reference plane does elevation does not have those, or like maybe they are, but they're all the way up. It's weird. They don't look like yours though.
okay. Go ahead and share. Let's look. This came from setting the leg height to be 6 inches. So see, that's what I was saying. So yours, that's why I set mine to 6 inches. Yours are there. It's fine. You're fine. We'll get them. But the
Okay.
top of the leg is at the same height as the top of the table, so they're overlapping. You just don't see them as well.
I missed a step then. My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. It'll all get fixed right now. So let's go ahead and put in a reference plane.
Share your screen.
Yes, sir. All right.
You're looking at the.
Can you see my screen? Okay,
Yeah,
so
you're good.
I'm in my front elevation view, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so get there by going to your project browser, clicking on front elevation. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 reference planes. The first plane, I'm going to draw somewhere up here. And I'm going to click and I'm going to name it table height. Okay. And again, it's about 6 feet off the ground right now. It's going to move, it's going to flex, right? We'll move them all around. Okay. So once I have my first plane drawn, I want to go ahead and take my dimension. And I want to dimension from the reference level to the table height reference plane. And I will set that dimension. Just like before, in order to control any of these dimensions, we need to make them parametric and apply a parameter to it. So we're going to create a parameter and we'll call this table height. And just to make things nice and simple, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I just want to set that to, let's just set it to 5 feet right now. That looks good.
What ribbon was that in? I can't remember where I changed the name.
You
Oh, I found it. Never
you
mind.
click on the reference plane and it pops up.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yep. All right. And then the final reference plane of the evening. Roughly 6 inches, a foot, somewhere underneath this table height. We're going to draw one more. And we're going to name this table thickness. Let's take a dimension between the table height reference plane and the thickness reference plane. Set that dimension. And then we're going to build a parameter for it, just like before with table height, matching the table height reference plane name. We're going to just call this table. Maybe tabletop thickness. And I'm going to set that to 6 inches. All right. So if you did this right, okay, you should be able to take this table height. So if we click this top table or this top reference plane for table height, and this dimension activates, if we click into that 5-foot dimension, we should be able to make that 4 foot, and both reference planes are going to drop a foot. Now, if it didn't do that, so it looks like that didn't happen. Okay, so this dimension, we can lock this dimension. So let's go back a step. And although if I lock that, can I? Yeah, yep, I can still do that. So what I want to do, I'm going to step back 2 steps. Okay, we've got our table height reference plane with our table height dimension. We also have our table thickness reference plane with our table thickness dimension. Now, one thing that we want to do is we don't want this tabletop thickness to move without the table height moving, right? Because that thickness is going to be set, right? Maybe it's 4 inches, maybe it's 6, maybe it's a half an inch. I don't know. No matter what, this cannot be above the table height line, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. Okay. So in order for us to keep this underneath here, we should be able to click on this line, click on this dimension, and lock that dimension. And now that that dimension is locked, when we click onto the table height dimension of 5 feet and move it to 4, that tabletop thickness line is going to drop down with it. Now, it's not locked there forever. I still can control it with a parameter, but it's saying, hey, this line is always got to be whatever distance this is away from this top line. That's locked in place. It's not, you can't change one without the other changing. Or sorry, you can't change the table height without the thickness reference line changing, right? You can change the thickness of it without changing the height, right? But if you move the table height, that thickness should go with it. All right. So we've made all the planes. All we have left to do is the last couple align and locks. Okay, so let's follow along. We're going to do this all in like one step. So it's just going to be click, 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 right? with locks between it, right? So I want to align. First off, before we do this, is everyone ready to set the height of your table leg? Has everyone got their legs? Okay, right on. Just double checking, right, before we move on. All right, so we want to use your align tool, and we want to align the table height reference plane. So that's where we want to align. And then what we want to align there is the top of our table extrusion, right? So the top of that big extrusion. And when I click that, it will move it to the top, and I want to lock it. Okay. Next one. Again, I'm not exiting the command. I'm still in it. I want to click this tabletop thickness reference plane. And then I want to click the bottom of my large table extrusion, right? Not the little leg. We want the one that goes you see a big, extrusion handle, not this little tiny one that we're going to get in a minute. Okay. And we're going to bring that up and we'll lock that into place. All right. And now it's just a series of the same thing over and over. Now I want to make sure that you guys okay, so we could lock this to the geometry, right? So I could physically lock the leg to the bottom of the table extrusion. However, it is much more efficient and it works a lot better if you actually lock it to the plane. So every time we use our align tool now, I want to make sure that you come like to the side of this extrusion. And so we're actually grabbing that plane, not just the bottom of the tabletop. Does that make sense? Okay, so again, you can get that by tabbing through it, but we want to grab the one that's dashed, not the solid one. So dashed line, the top of one of our legs, it's going to be the front leg just based on how we're looking at it. Doesn't matter what leg it is, because once we stretch this up and lock it, we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, so that locked the front and the back left legs.
Graham, where are you aligning from? It's not the annotate, right?
Where am I aligning from or to?
No, which just subcategory, I guess, at the top ribbon are you aligning from? Apologies.
It doesn't matter. It's in multiple ribbons. But it's this right here. This align
That one. Okay.
No, that's the align dimension. Okay. So I'm in the modified tab using this right here to align it. AL is your keyboard shortcut.
Got it. Thank you.
So I'm clicking the reference plane, the top of the table leg, and then locking it. And then last but not least, the reference plane, the top of the table leg, and locking it. And a couple escape. And we're done with the basic framework of this. And now we just get to have fun. Okay, so let's go to your 3D view. And you could turn it on to shaded if you want. Textures, I don't care. Turn it on to something more than just hidden line or wireframe. So let's do a shaded. And let's go ahead and open up our type properties, our family types. All right. So does everyone have all of these parameters in your family types? You should have a leg depth, offset, width, table height, table length, tabletop thickness, and a table width.
Would you be willing just to go through another round of that, Graham? I was like, just so what parts you align to which parts?
Sure. Yeah. So let's do this. Let's go back to front. I'm just going to go back. All right. Everything's sitting back at the bottom. If you had 6-inch legs, they'll be sitting halfway up. If you have 1-foot legs, it might look something like this, where you don't really see the top because it's overlapping by the other top of the table, the top of the tabletop. Okay. So I'm just going to bring that down just so you can see it a little easier. So what we want to do you have these two reference planes, the table height reference plane and the tabletop thickness reference plane? You're muted, Kat.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. So what we want to do, we're going to first align to the top of the table height. Okay, so we'll take our align and we're going to go click the top of the table height line to the top of the table top extrusion. And that should bring the whole tabletop, make it about a 4-foot block or whatever, and we're going to lock that in place.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're not getting out of the command. We're now going to go ahead and lock the bottom of the tabletop to the tabletop thickness reference plane. So tabletop thickness, and then the bottom of the large extrusion for our tabletop. And we will lock that one there.
Okay.
Now, I didn't show this before, but I'm going to now. Earlier, you probably clicked to align, and then you click the top of the leg, you click to align, click the top of the leg, click the line, click the top of the leg, right? There's this little function here that sometimes when you're dealing with items that you have to align to the same spot, and my rule is it needs to be 4 or more. If it's two or three, it's not worth even clicking this button, because by the time you click it and you click your align buttons and then you uncheck this, you've clicked just as many times, so it's not saving you anything, right? It's actually just going to aggravate you because you'll forget to uncheck it and then you'll go work on something else in your project, and then all of a sudden everything's aligning to the same spot and it's annoying. So, but we are going to click this in multiple just so I can show it off. Click this multiple alignment, and what I'm going to do with the multiple alignment is I'll click again where I want to align. Now I'm going to click what I want to align. Now every time I click what I want to align, I need to make sure I do what?
Lock it.
Lock it. You got it. So click there, lock. Now, instead of clicking back to this reference plane, since I'm multiple alignment, I can just click the top of that leg again and lock. Top of the leg and lock. Top of the leg and lock. And now I will typically come and just uncheck that multiple alignment. So then that way, the next time I use my align command, I'm not automatically in multiple alignment. And there you go.
Nice, thank you.
All right. So if we go to our 3D view and we go to shaded, it'll just show this as gray, and that's fine for now. We'll once we build some types and get this all set, we can look at different material finishes and that kind of stuff for it. Okay. But for now, I want to take a look at the types and how we utilize them. So we built all these as type properties, right? But right now we don't have any types built. And what that means is, like, I want to have something, right? When I click on a family and I click on that window, I want something that's a 2-foot by 4-foot window. I want a 3-foot by 4-foot window. I want a 4-foot by 4-foot window. I want a 4-foot by 5-foot window, right? All these options that are in the manufacturer's catalog, I want available to me, right? Or if I need to build a custom one, right? Maybe I build that myself.
Hey, Graham, quick question. How did you get to the family type table?
Right here.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
It's the 4 blue box.
Gracias.
Yes. So right now, what this is just showing you, though, is all the different parameters that are assigned to different functions of this family. But there's nothing saying that, hey, let's choose a dining table. Let's choose a coffee table. Let's choose an end table, right? So the table that we just built, we're actually going to build a few different variations or versions of it. but we don't have to do any more work with the actual geometry and the actual reference planes. All that's done. All we need to do now to make different sizes is to come here and click this new type button. I'm going to call this one coffee table. And just because I want you to type it construction 246 coffee table. There's a reason for this. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Wink, wink. I will mention this again. If you use one of these tables, sorry, if you use two of these tables, right? You in your final project, there's a point of extra credit available. So it's like a 5% boost just for throwing in a table that we made in class. Okay.
Hey, Graham, sorry, I had to take a phone call real quick, but I'm back. How did you get to this part here where you're changing the name? I'm on the family types.
Okay, I clicked this new button up here.
Okay,
The
that's
new
what I
with,
thought.
and then I made one called Construction 246 Coffee Table. That
Gotcha.
will just allow me to see it in your schedule, know that we all built it together, right? Easy for me to tell and give you some points without a bunch of headache looking through stuff, right?
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna click OK, and now up here it should say type name, right? And instead of it being blank, it now says coffee table. And let's talk about it. How big of a coffee table do we want to build? This is your input, right? So give me some measurements.
I would say like 2 foot by 4, maybe 3 foot by 4 foot. Like that might be okay for a coffee table, and like
So we'll
I don't
go
know,
length. So we'll go
8 feet.
table length, 4 foot, table width. Let's do 4 foot width by 2 foot length. I like that. How thick do we want that top? It's a coffee table. It doesn't need to be super thick. Maybe inch and a half, 3/4 of an inch. We'll do inch and a half.
Table.
Table height. That's a coffee table, right? So it's going to be pretty short, probably about 2 feet tall.
That's what I picked.
Yep. And then it does not need to have these monster legs on it, right? So it's a little coffee table, maybe like a, I don't know, 3.5 by 3.5. That'd be a 4x4 post. That's pretty big still. Go like 2.5 by 2.5. 2.5 inches. I don't want 2'6". That'd be a huge leg.
Get this table width.
And then last but not least, we just need to assign an offset. So again, it's a small little coffee table. We're only dealing with 2-inch legs, probably about a 3-inch offset, right? Just a little, nothing major. Okay. But legs of tables don't go to the very edge, right? So we need to have something inset. All right. And now I can go ahead and click apply. Just like that. There's my little coffee table.
This may not be important, Graham, but how does yours shaded?
Down here, I shaded it with this shaded
Oh,
tool.
okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I just made it a little easier for you to see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and click OK, and there we go. So we're gonna build 3 different types. So that's our coffee table. So if we go here and we click this new type, now when you click a new type button, it doesn't just build a blank new type. What it's doing is it's actually just duplicating whatever's there. Okay, so if I click new type and call it a dining table and click OK, it's going to automatically just inherit all the parameters that were on its the last type, right? So it's not just going to reset these to 0 or anything. You're just duplicating that type. And now that type has changed, we can do this. So let's go ahead and build ourselves a big old dining table. Table length.
Oh,
10 feet.
10 feet. Okay. Right on. Table width. I like 4 by 10. That's a big old table.
Oh.
Okay. Well, with a table that big, we need like a 3-inch thick. Yeah, maybe 2.5 inch. Nice solid top. Table height. It's gonna be a dining table, so about 3.5, I think. 3,
3.5.
3.5. Okay, leg width. We now have a much larger table, 10 by 4. So I think these should be like some like, I don't know, 4 by 4 or 6 by 6 post style legs. Maybe even a rectangle leg because it's a 10 foot long, right? So we could make the leg like 6 by 4 or 6 by 2.
It's 6 by
6 inches by 2.5 with a 4-inch offset.
You want everybody's to be the exact same, or can we make our own? Or
I'd like you to make these ones the same, and then if you want to make all of your own, that's fine. But at least in this, now I don't care for your final project if you change these dimensions, but for tonight, let's try to make these.
okay, I'm just a little behind. I missed a
That's
couple.
okay. I can take screenshots of them too.
Okay.
But we can go back to, and again, it doesn't really matter, right? So if they're a little off, it's not a big deal. Okay. So we're just trying to get some rough ideas. So, but now if I click this dining table and click apply, now I got myself a nice big old dining table. Right. And then last but not least, I'm going to build one more table. Go to my modify, and I'm going to build a nightstand. That's just going to be a little 16-inch by 16-inch. 3'6" is fine. Leg width, we'll just have some little 2-inch by 2-inch legs with a offset. And there, you want there. And I can click apply, and now I got a little nightstand, right? Or a plant stand, right? Use it for whatever you want. Yeah.
Whoa.
What'd you make?
Your legs are like super tall. That's crazy. Sorry.
Maybe I only want it. Maybe I only want this
2.5.
2.5 feet tall. And that's why it's parametric, because I didn't want to remodel that. I didn't want to build new extrusions, right? So now we can just make it whatever we need it to be.
Can I show you my screen when you get a chance?
You can. Oh, let me do this. Sorry, I'll stop sharing. Stop sharing. There you go.
Check out my goofball table. I don't know what I did here, but
So what you did is there's one leg, and that's fine. There's one leg that didn't get locked. So let's click OK.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let's go to your, you can actually do it in this 3D view if you want. But let's actually go do it in your front view. It'll be a lot easier. And go click that reference plane, the thick, not the top one there. Not that one down. There. Click that one. Click that one. And then go click the top of that leg. Hit escape. You need to set the hit escape. Try it again. AL or align. So no, we choose that one below it. Nope, that's the top one. So hit escape. click that one. And then now go click the top of the leg right there. There you go. And now hit that lock button. Now when it stretches and flexes, it will work together. So click OK. You can just hit escape a couple times, and now you're good though.
My table legs are goofy though. What did I do there?
Okay, well let's go to your typer. So the table, well, because your leg width is 1 foot.
Oh, okay.
So make that like 2 inches or
Yeah.
4 inches or something that's not.
Gotcha.
And now hit apply or okay. Okay,
Okay.
okay applies it. It just closes that dialog box. So,
All right, I'll stop sharing. Thank you so much.
yeah, absolutely. Is there anybody else that their table doesn't work exactly the way that we're looking at right now?
No, but if you can put your like dimensions up, like so I can, because I didn't get my dimensions in for the coffee table, the dining room table, and those, if you can put those up and I can just copy those, whatever for tonight's class. Other than that, like everything else is good for me.
I can take some screenshots and post those in the module along with the video if you want those.
Yeah, I'll need them too, so that'd
Okay.
be great.
Yeah, I can do that. Here's the other thing real quick. Why don't you do this? In the meantime, I can just bring them up, and if you want to take a few screenshots, you can.
There you go.
So, and I can make that a little bigger too.
And Graham, you mentioned using 2 of these tables would be an extra credit point.
It
Is that
is.
correct?
It is. It is. So 2 types.
2 types.
2 types. So, and the final's out of 20 points, so it's an extra like 5%. So it's a significant little bump for anybody that misses something, kind of silly or something because they forgot to put something in. If you put that in, it kind of covers your ass. So,
And after you build it, it's already saved. So then you just go back to family types, hit the new button again to create a new table.
correct. Yeah. Once you click up, yep. And it's going to create a new table with the parameters that you just set. So it's going to just create a duplicate of whatever. So here's nightstand. I'm going to move it to dining table. And again, if you want a table of a different size for your project, I have no issues with you putting in a dining table that's appropriately sized, right? Not a whole lot of us have 10-foot dining tables.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, I'll give you the coffee table. All right, does anyone need those up? Again, I will go ahead and actually, I'll just go ahead and do it right now so I have the screenshots. All right. So I will post those along with the video. All right. So let's look at the last thing I want to look at tonight, which is materials. So this is the one time in this class that we actually kind of look at materials and what things are made out of, right? So we can take this, and if we click this material, all right, so if I click the tabletop, so I'm gonna leave the legs different than the top. I'm just gonna select the tabletop right now. And if I come over here to this materials in your properties, you'll see this by category. And if you click into that, a little 3 dots shows up on the very right side, and you can click that, and another materials browser will show up. And once this browser shows up, we have another asset browser that we can open up right here. So it's the third. You've got a file folder, a sphere, and then it looks like a square with some blue lines at the top. If we click that, this asset browser has tons and tons and tons of different material types. So maybe I wanted this top to be stone. And I type in stone and it just pulled up. I got granite, I've got limestone, I've got bluestone. Yeah, I'll try that bluestone one. I like that. And you can take that and you can, so I'll go back to stone. You can hit this this button right here and it will replace the asset with this asset in the browser. So a couple different ways we could go about this. We could go about making our own materials. So I could create a new material and it's called a default new material, and I can click in here and rename it, and I'll call this stone counter top. And now that I have an actual material, I can utilize the asset browser to look up that stone again. And I can say, hey, replace the current asset in the editor with this asset. So now when I click this button, that stone countertop just inherited all of the properties of that asset. So I made a material called stone countertop, clicked OK. And now if I go to realistic, you can now see my stone countertop. Okay. So maybe you want to have some wood legs. So let's look at these. And I'm going to make a new material, and I'm just going to call it create new material. And I'm just going to call this, I don't call it default new material. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this oak legs. And once I've built the material, I can come to my asset browser and type in oak. And I've got quite a few different oak options. I'm going to choose this one and replace the current assets.
Does the other
now,
information really matter at this
huh?
point? Does the other information matter? So under aspect, the option below the one you selected has thermal, types is solid. Does it really matter?
No, it doesn't. Not for us. Maybe if you were in a materials class and we were doing something, but yeah, no, it's fine. This is just like giving some
The
properties.
appearance.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and close that, choose my oak legs. And now I put oak legs and now that looks pretty good, right? Like that's a nice little countertop with some legs. And maybe I'd want to look at it textured. Shaded is going to give me pretty much grays still, right? So if you want to start seeing if you're actually applying wood or a stone or some type of a material, you want to be viewing it in realistic or at least textures to be able to see that rendering. Otherwise, it's just going to come up as a solid shaded object. Any questions? Anyone want to share their screen? You want me to make some more materials?
I'll share my screen real quick. I want to see how you did that wood thing. I'm trying to figure it out.
Sure. So the biggest thing to using materials is I always just create a brand new default material and then I can have something to inherit the assets to. Otherwise, it's whatever material I was clicked on last, and then I go to the assets and just replace it. And it's like, oh, well, this is wood, but my material was, copper pipe or something, right?
Is my
So
screen up there?
yeah, I see your Zoom screen. Your one says Zoom. I don't
Oh,
know where
so
your Revit is. Do you have two screens?
I
There you
got it.
go.
There you
Nice.
go. Cool.
Cool. Nice tile.
Yeah. So how do I change these to wood? Do
All
I
right, so
select all?
select all those legs and go ahead and just change it to shaded real quick. Now you can see that those legs are selected. I don't know why when you're in realistic they like disappeared, but
Yeah.
now we can go into the material and it says
Mhm.
by category. Let's click into there and we'll get the three dots that show up. There you go. And so let's go and just go click that circle at the bottom, the sphere, and just create a new material. And so let's rename that. So right click on the default new material over in the menu on the left hand side. It says default roof, default wall, default. Yeah, right click on the actual name. So it says default new material. Two down, it's
Oh,
highlighted in blue. There you go. Right click and rename. And now let's call this whatever you want, like wood legs or wood. I don't care. Or you can do something else too. Okay,
gotcha.
wood legs. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So now what's going I want you to drag your whole click the white bar at the top and drag that up and to the left. Drag the whole menu.
You want it off screen
No, I just want you to move it up and to the left so that way we can expand it because you're missing some stuff.
on this? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
perfect. Right there. So now grab the bottom right corner. There you go. Pull that out. There you go. Now we've got okay, so now your asset browser's there. So you got wood legs. So now go on the left-hand side, you'll see the file folder, you'll see a sphere, and then you'll see the one on the very right that opens and closes the asset browser. So let's open that up. And that might be on another window. I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, it's over here. Okay. Oh, I can move it over here, obviously.
All right. So now you can type in wood, you can type in oak, you can type in maple, you can type in, I mean, what have you. And it should typically, once you search, it should pop, 4 to 10 options, typically for most material types.
And you just
Um,
click on it and that's all you need to
so
do.
click on it,
Yeah. Oh, then hit the
and
arrow.
then you hit that arrow transfer button, and that's going to replace the current asset. So that's why we called it wood or wood
And then I
leg. Now
double
you can
click
go
up,
ahead and just click OK.
not apply or either, right?
And then now go back to realistic.
Oh, nice. Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else want me to take a look at your screen?
Yeah, I'm like the same boat as Tom as far as like I had the bluestone on there and then I changed the legs and then it changed the countertop to oak.
Okay.
Like I changed the legs to oak, but anyways.
So let's just make sure that we need to make sure you have two material types and each of them are applied individually. So if you want to share your screen.
All right.
All
So
right. So first off, let's hit cancel real quick and put you back into shaded. Get out of realistic while we're working on it. So that way we can actually see the geometry and make sure it's the right thing selected. Okay. So now let's click on that table, top. And if you go to scroll down, your material right now is analytical panels, is what your material is called. Okay.
I
So that's because this is. So go ahead and click the three dots. And let's just start over essentially. What happened is you didn't create any new materials. You just opened that asset browser and brought that material in, and you've just been replacing that asset across the analytical panels material. So let's go click the sphere and then create new material. Okay, this is a default brand new. Let's rename it and we'll name it countertop or tabletop. Okay.
Apply
There's nothing to apply yet. So go
Okay.
ahead now, click down to your asset browser. So yep, that guy right there. Now go find whatever material you want. If you want that blue slate or you want, I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. Mosaic blue, I don't know, there's all types of stuff, right? And now bring that exactly. Replace the current editor. And so now your tabletop just inherited those properties. So now let's go ahead while we're here. Actually, you can go ahead and click OK. That's fine.
Apply.
Okay, it's fine. We can shut it down. Okay, take a look in realistic just to make sure that it worked the way you wanted it to. Looks good. Now you have wood legs there. We can leave them like that, but let's go ahead and make them how you actually would do it. So select all again. Now, real quick, you can do this, but again, switch back to shaded or something so you can actually see what you're selecting. I don't know why it goes away altogether in realistic. So now this, we can, if you like that, okay, but you don't want it called analytical panels because you already brought that wood in, right? You already brought that asset in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can, but you don't like the name. We can do two things. One, we could rename it, which I don't like just renaming like the default stuff. I'd rather just duplicate it and then make it my own. So just click that drop down and there's a duplicate material and assets. Yep. Click that. Now just rename it wood legs or whatever you want it called.
Oh, that's already highlighted. So
yeah, but now that you did that, you're okay. I think you got it. You're in it now. You can.
Okay. And now just a wood legs.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it, sure.
Okay.
But now if you did change analytical panels to be back to the default, so click on that one real quick, and then click that drop down on the sphere. Actually, I don't care to do anything with it. Never mind. But you could change it. We could do something else with it, and it's not going to affect the wood legs one, right? Because we duplicated it. So now they each have their own properties. So you could click on that analytical panels and choose, something else if you wanted. But you want it in the material type on the left-hand side, you want to choose the wood legs one. So choose the wood legs at the bottom. There you go. So that way, if you do change something else, then those stay the same. And then just go back to realistic to see it with the actual rendering. There you go. Nice.
Okay, now I just need to adjust the other to the dimensions that you posted earlier. So I took screenshots of them. I just need to put those dimensions in, but
right on. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions about this, about the family creation? So I know that it's not the most streamlined thing, but once you get all your frameworks set up and you get your dimensions and your parametric parameters built, you can take that and make a single family that can morph into 500 different types, right? We could sit here and build 500 unique tables. All of them in a rectangle, right? It's not going to allow me to build a circle table. But anything with a square or rectangle tabletop and rectangle legs, and I can change that offset, I can change the leg width, the leg depth, the table width, the table depth, the height, the the countertop thickness, right? All those parameters are now able to be changed on the fly, right?
So, quick question. If you did want to take that tabletop or the legs and make them circular, is it possible to do that with this template that we just created, or would that have to be created from scratch?
Well, it is possible. Do you want to build a circle leg?
Sure, we could try it.
Okay. So this is um we the legs with circular objects, you got to turn a couple things on, but yeah, let's go ahead and make one of these real quick. So
Right.
um and we'll allow you to see. So if you want to learn a little bit about how families can alter on and off with some yes no parameters, and I'm going to take this essentially this table and allow us to either choose rectangular or circle legs for it. Okay. And then we can specify the diameter of the circular legs. And we'll still use that offset, the center point being the same. Okay. So let's go ahead. Can you see my screen?
No, you're not.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get
I
back.
have a quick side question, Graham, and this
Yes.
is, are there people who like make their living designing furniture in Revit, or is that just like a side hustle?
There's people that make their living go work for a furniture manufacturer, and there's somebody that's modeling everything.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, there's definitely people that make a living just building families. I would say a
Wow.
lot of the families that are built are probably built by people that are architects or electricians or electrical people or mechanical, whatever your trade is. Um, you're probably doing a job where you require that family to be built, and so you build it specifically for it. But there are people that work for manufacturers that's all they do is build Revit families. So,
Neat.
and then I mean, and for years I've built probably upwards of 1,500 to 1,800, maybe somewhere in there, families all from scratch. That then I had control of them. We had control of what parameters were in them, how they stretched, how they flexed, how they scheduled. So it just allows you to, but a lot of that's done in-house by whatever firm you're working for.
Cool.
So
That's neat.
great question.
Thanks.
All right. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to create an extrusion, except this time our extrusion is going to be a circle. Okay. And one thing, I'm going to go ahead and just choose this center point. And I'll just make it a 2. And I'll leave it at 6-inch height for now. And that's fine. So the one thing that's tricky here, and this is where I always forget where the heck it is. So, go. So the one thing with circles that you have an issue with is how do you lock that in place, right? How do you lock a center of a circle? And right here, there we go. I can actually turn on a center mark. So now that center mark is on, I can take this extrusion and now align it.
Oh, okay.
And lock it into place.
I found that. Yeah, cool.
Okay. So that's the only tricky thing about the circle is that you have to know that if you edit the extrusion, click on the circle, then this center mark visible will come up. If you don't know about that, it's very hard to get that circle to behave the way you want it to. It'll move, but like it won't lock into place. So now that's locked, and then I can do radial diameter on this and make this a parameter and call this round leg diameter. And that should allow me to, now is that the actual diameter? Or is that the no, it is the diameter. Okay, so that'll allow me to change that on the fly. Does it? Why is that being locked down? Round leg diameter. It's constrained, sort of. Let's see. It was being constrained by something. Let's see here.
Yeah, it seems locked at the 2-inch.
So, oh, well, that's because we haven't done anything with it. So, oh, but we have though. Round leg diameter. Constraints are being, it doesn't like this dimension. Hmm. Not allowing that to be parametric. Weird. Um, well, why don't we just do it real quick with just a fixed 2-inch leg for now? And I'll show you how to do that. And we'll see. I don't understand why this isn't doing it, but for some reason this extrusion isn't allowing us to edit it with the normal workflow. So I'll figure out why the circular isn't working right. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna copy this. And I'm gonna copy this extrusion from here to here, here, and here. And then each one of these, when I click edit the extrusion, I'll make sure that I align and lock that center point. So that way, at least the legs will move with it. And then same thing here. This one. All right. So now if I go to my front view, I'm going to set this up the same way where I'm going to align these legs to this reference plane. Lock it. Lock it. Lock it. All right. So that's pretty easy. What we did ultimately is just built the same table now, except we've got round legs and square legs. But if I move, I'll put it in wireframe so you can see them both. You can kind of see them both in there. And if I change this to a dining table, those round legs move with it, right? So those, they at least were locked to the center point. Well, I'll get to figure out why they aren't allowing it to stretch with that dimension. Because you should be able to just put in that radial length and type in a 6-inch and it stretches it. All right, but now here's a little tricky part. So how do we tell it if we want round legs or square legs? So what we can do is I can select these square legs and I can come here to this visible and I can create a parameter, a yes/no parameter that says square legs. And that's going to be an on or off parameter, a yes/no. I can also set the same type of parameter. To round legs. All right. And now that those parameters are options, when I'm in my type properties, I now have some checkboxes that allows me to, and I'm going to duplicate this and I'll make this a dining table round legs. And so the dining table round legs, well, the round legs one turned on. And the normal dining table will have the square legs turned on. And when I toggle between them, now you're not going to see it right here, okay? And this is the one thing that some people kind of struggle with. They're like, hey, why isn't this working? This didn't work for me. Like the type properties moved and stretched and flexed this. Why is this still showing? Well, you
They
need to
still
load it.
exist, right?
It still exists, right? So we're going to do
Yeah.
this actually. I'm going to create a brand new, that's fine. Just going to bring a brand new project. Now I'm going to take this table that we just built and I'm going to load it into that project. And now that it's loaded into this project, when I look at this in 3D, okay, so now that it's in here, if I choose dining table, and let's change this to wireframe so you can see it. So right now you can see that this dining table, or sorry, I think it's a coffee table. I didn't choose anything. I didn't have a checkbox turned off. So both legs are showing right now. But I did turn one off for the normal dining table. So dining table, just square legs. Dining table, round legs. Now it's got round legs.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and you should be, again, you should be able to, I'll figure out why. I think this changed in 2020, in 2024. 2023, you can still use the radial dimension. So I don't know if you need to set up and align like the quadrants to a reference plane. But I will look and get back to you on how to make a round extrusion parametric because that's a nice thing to, and we do it all the time with with a lot of times though, I think at least in my experience, round extrusions, like a lot of them are like pendants, and we'll just use like a 3/8 rod, right? So we're really not, and if we wanted to do a 1/4 inch rod or we wanted to do a 5/8 inch rod, right? We would set them up as a check yes no parameter, and so then that way it would just turn on the 1/4 inch or turn on the 3/8 or turn on the 1/2 inch, right? So but there is a way that we can do the radial parametric parameter. So I will find out and let you know.
Awesome.
I
Yeah,
got a
just thinking about like regular dining room tables.
Yeah.
Most of the ones that
And you
have
could change
round
this
legs are supposed to
extrusion.
square. Mhm.
Okay, you could change this extrusion, and we could spend, a bunch of time building um just building a crazy leg, right? That has, all types of, craftsman style or something that's and you could even build that in one family and then bring that into the table family. And so that's what's called a nested family, where you have multiple families within each other. And that's a lot of families are built in parts and pieces that all get brought into a central big family, right? But like, I'm not building my screw for my panel in the panel family. I build that as a screw. I build the back box as a back box,
Hardware or something.
right? And then all of them get
Yeah.
brought together, right?
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for exploring that. Yeah,
Yeah,
let me know if you can figure out the diameter issue.
yeah, I will.
What do you want for screenshots this week? You want 3 screenshots of each table, or one of each table, or
Nope. I want a screenshot of, oh, sorry. What happened to my, oh, did it close it? Oh, because I loaded it and then closed it. Hold up. Let me just click edit family. I want a screenshot of this. Okay. So I don't care what table it is, right? You can be on, why don't you just go ahead and be on like your I don't know, your coffee table. It doesn't matter which one it is, right? I just want to see a screenshot with your reference planes, with your dimensions, with your equals distances, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Any last questions before I cut you guys loose today? Anything else you'd like to try to explore with Revit families? I know this is just touching the tip of the iceberg, but it starts to introduce to you how Revit actually works, how these families are able to do what they do versus those of you that took my AutoCAD class, you can't just stretch stuff, right? Or if you do, you have to scale it or you have to do something to it. You can't just type in 4 feet by 12 feet, enter, you know.
I'm still kind of curious about the final. Obviously, like I put way too much time into my final for AutoCAD. Um, when would
Perfect.
you recommend getting started?
Last week. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Nope, that's the last thing that we're going to go over today. So before I let you go, I just want to make sure that I covered anybody's questions before I moved on. But let's go ahead. I'm going to go to home on our modules and let's go to the modules and let's look at the final project, which I will now publish the module. Okay. So final project module is now published. Let's go ahead. If you see some old names on here or these old dates on here, right? I don't care. It's the same thing. So I didn't want to redo a bunch of this just to have a different date on here. It's the same final. Okay. So, but now that module is available, let's take a look at the Word doc on it. Why is this taking here 15 kilobit file? All right. Can everyone see my screen? All
Yes.
right, cool. So here. All right, construction 246, final project, winter 2025. Okay, so the final project is worth 20 points or 20% of your grade, however you want to look at it. Quick thing to keep in mind, I will mention this again, but it's not going to be written down anywhere. Okay. But if you use two types of tables that we created tonight, so like a dining table and a coffee table, or you want to create your own tables, maybe you want to like a raised bar countertop table using that family. If you use two of them, there's an extra point of credit for you, so it's like 5% extra towards your grade, right? So I'd highly recommend putting a couple of those table types in your final project. All right, that being said, let's talk about it. So please choose a project of your choice that is easy for you to model and annotate for construction documents. I would recommend you choose to model your home or a space that is familiar to you to make it easy. You'll submit your Revit model to the instructor on the last day of class. Okay, so in the last day of class for us, I believe it's March 17th. Yes. March 17th is our last day of class, right? So we have 3 class days that are going to be dedicated to open lab time for about half of it, and then some instruction on putting together some of your documentation. Okay. So, at a minimum, your final project should include the following: a floor plan, with dimensions of prominent elements such as walls, doors, windows, and casework. An exterior elevation of the space with dimensions of walls, windows, and doors. Okay. Enlarged interior floor plan of an area within your project with dimensions. And we haven't done that yet, but that's something that we will be working on together. Okay. So the biggest thing is just trying to get some content into your model, right? Over the next week, 2 weeks, essentially. Next week, a lot of it's going to be open lab for you to be working on your project and asking questions and that kind of stuff. The following week is going to be more based on your model should be mostly done at this point, and we're now going to be putting together the sections and the views and the sheets and everything that you need to produce a final packet. Okay. All right. So interior elevation. So enlarged interior floor plan. Like I said, we'll do that. Interior elevations of the area that you do an enlarged floor plan, right? So maybe we'll do a kitchen area and we'll do some interior elevations and interior enlarged floor plan, a little 3D ISO view for it. Okay, so we'll put all these together, but we got to get that content in there, right? So over the next 2 weeks really is the time for you guys to be putting that content in your model, modeling those walls, windows, doors, right? Getting, maybe you don't have all your cabinet and casework stuff. I can help you with that type of stuff, right? That's what the lab time is for, is to go through maybe how to place some of the families that you've downloaded that might be a little trickier, right? Stuff that needs more one-on-one individualized attention. At least one 3D view of the entire project and one specific area, such as the enlarged floor plan above. Schedule views of some of the elements in your model, such as a door or window schedule, furniture, casework, or appliances. And then last but not least, 8 points for modeling, add families of furnitures, doors, windows, casework. The more you go into greater detail, the more points you get. If you just draw 4 walls, a door, and a window, you will get 4 points. Okay. So I need that space to be filled out. I don't care if you go have all types of different chairs around your dining table and you don't need to make it crazy, but you do need to make it functional, right? So you need something that you could sit and watch a TV if that's what that area is designed for, right? Or maybe it's an office space area, right? So please put in more than just the walls and windows and doors. Okay. Again, we can go over how to get some extra families, but Revit has a pretty good Revit's got a pretty good decent library right here under the insert tab, the load Autodesk family. There's a pretty decent cloud library of families that they've developed. And then there's always bimobject.com and revitcity.com. Both of those are websites that you can download much higher detailed families for, you name it, they've got it. So, and then most importantly, have fun, have some fun with it. Okay. Like this, it shouldn't be something that you're stressing about. We'll all get through it. Okay. It's not something that's a, super hard final. You got to know all this stuff. Model some stuff, bring it in, let's talk, right? And I'll give you advice on how to make it better, what you need to add, and we'll put over the next couple weeks, we're going to put together the sheets and the views and how to dimension stuff, okay? But we can't do any of that until there's content there, right? So I highly suggest trying to get some content by next Monday, right? So we've got something for next week. But yeah, next Monday is going to be a work time for you. So, come prepared with questions, it's going to be a time that we're going to work individually, but we will get together as a team to go ahead and run through how to build these sheets correctly, how to build all these views, right? No one's going to be left behind. But we need to just make sure that we model content. And even just like the houses that we've been drawing in class, right? Like the little tiny, it doesn't have to be big. It could be your apartment building or your apartment for that matter, right? 500 square feet. But that has a sink in it, I assume, and a toilet and a shower and, you know, a some type of a kitchenette or a kitchen, right? So take that space and build it out, right? It doesn't have to be super big and super elaborate, but it does need to have some content in there so you know what you're building. And then last but not least, the construction documents. So create a model and construction documents. So the construction documents, those are your sheets that we're going to put together with views for plan views, elevation, enlarged 3D views, what have you. Yeah. And then hopefully you can use this for your portfolio for whatever you want, show that you've got some BIM experience. Yeah. So real quick, these are all posted now, so I'm not going to go into them too far in depth. You can go through them on your own time, but I have posted an example sample project on here. Okay. I will go ahead and say I do not, and I've had this happen in the past, and I didn't say that wasn't allowed. So like technically it was okay. Please don't do a copy for copy version of my project. Okay. Like they're like, oh yeah. I mean, literally every window, everything, it was exact same. It's like, okay, cool, but like you put nothing into it that was your own, right? You just copied what I did. So that being said, here is what the final project kind of will look like. Again, this is not anything that is extraordinary, but it's more than enough to provide some documents that are going to look good. Why? Okay. I'm going to go just pull this up
Yeah, I
off
did
of.
the same thing. It was taking a long time to load.
I don't know why it is. I'm just going to pull it up off of here. Hold on. Yeah, if I have, I don't know if I have it on here anymore though. That's a problem because here, let's just do this. Let me just click the download button. All right. So here's a sample residence. Okay. Very basic little living room. Let me go back to, let's go. Can I download it straight from here? No, of course not. So here's a little floor plan view. I'm gonna try to open all these up real quick, and then we can walk through them. One more, and then we'll be good. We can look at them all. All right. So let's look at, I think that's kind of backwards order, but that's okay. So first sheet kind of has a 3D overview of the project. If you want to put a roof on things, if you don't, I don't care. Okay. We're really looking for your basic wall layout, windows, doors, and then filling it with appliances, furniture, that kind of stuff. Here's my plan view. Okay, so I got a little kitchen. I've got an enlarged call out with some interior elevations here. I've got some exterior elevations around the whole building. Pertinent dimensions for where walls are. You'll find other dimensions in other different views. Okay. Here's dimensions for where all those windows are, right? And all of your different exterior elevations. Here's my large view of that kitchenette. Okay, so it kind of shows you, and I'll zoom in here. Here's a view of the casework and the cabinets and, the fridge and elevations, right? A little detail of the bathroom. Another little elevation of the toilet. Here's some schedules, right? So I can now, need a sheet showing all the different items in your project. So here's doors, windows, walls, different casework that's in there, and the different furniture that I have. I built a room schedule for this. And then last but not least, some 3D ISO enlarged views of interior of your house, which are pretty cool, easy to build. Again, all this, package can be put together in, probably 2 or 3 hours, once you have the modeling done, right? So we need to make sure that that modeling's there, and then I can help you guys finish this off, put the views on sheets, dot your I's, cross your T's, get it all looking good.
Are we allowed to create like just a imaginary space if we want? Like,
If you
are
want to, that's fine. Yeah, if you want to create an imaginary space, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. Just yeah, I mean, just make sure that it, maybe it's something you want to build, right? I don't care. It could be a future, it's something that should be some type of a small dwelling, or I mean, some people have done their office buildings. I've seen somebody do a convenience store. So it doesn't have to be your home if you want to. I had somebody model a boat. It was very difficult for them. They 3/4 of the way through were like, I'm giving up and I'm going to draw a house. And they whipped out a house in about an hour and a half that got them full credit. So, I mean, it's not,
can I
it doesn't have to be crazy, right? So just don't try to bite off more than you can chew.
can
Yeah,
I share my screen really quick? And
sure.
I'd like to just put the dining room table we created into my final project that I've been working on a little bit.
Okay, let's do it. I'll show you right now. So if anyone wants to leave, you're more than welcome to. Thank you for class this evening. I know we covered a lot, but yeah, it really kind of shows you the inner workings of Revit and how it's able to do what it's able to do. And everything is being controlled with those reference planes and dimensions.
Thanks,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. You want to go to so go back to the family that you were working on.
So where do I pull that back up? I mean, that was on a
So you can save that family. So go back. Where do you have it open in a different session?
I think I closed it out.
It looks like the reference level is still a view. Fourth tab in.
Yeah, I think it is. And that 3D, I think, should be a
Oh,
3D view.
oh, okay.
So what we can do in this view right here, just go ahead and save that. Just hit Control S or save it right there. Now, if you click load into project up there in your ribbon, so that's your properties.
Oh, up here?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
keep going over, load into project. There you go. Click that button. Now you can load it into, and you've got a ton of different projects open right now. All
these
of
are
those are different projects you have open. How?
It's because I didn't save my final in the right spot that I was working on, so I was trying to find it again. So I was opening up a bunch of stuff. So
Okay, well, do you know what? Okay, so I'd hit cancel real quick and close down the projects you don't want open. Like, what's your final call?
I thought I just renamed it, but maybe I didn't get that far yet. Oh crap! Here it is.
Okay, so right now it's called template one recovery.0. So let's go and save this. with something that you actually know what it's called. Don't just click save. Let's do a file save as.
Yeah.
And you're still using a template, which, okay, that's fine for right now, I guess. Go ahead and click template. And I want you to just save this as final project.
Yeah. Oops.
Construction 246 final.
Oops.
Got. All right. Now I want you to hit so there's a button at the top once that saves that allows you to close all inactive windows. So next to your thick line, thin line little button at the top, there's a red X button. Keep going up. Just to the left. Click that now. All right. So now every single tab that you have open is a different project. Okay. So go close all of those other ones. Or you can just go in. I guess we can just go into that family again. Click the 3D view.
See, this is a different project, so I can
okay. Go to click the reference level one then. There you go. That should be your family. Now click load into project, and we can now choose the final out of your menu because we named it. There it is at the top. Okay. And now it's literally dragging and dropping, and just drop it right in. Click.
Why is it cattywampus? Or it's not, never mind.
It's not, it's your view.
Yeah. Okay.
So now you got one of them, and if you copy that over, you can change the type.
How do which one is this? Where does it say?
You need to bring your properties up. So right click right there. Just right click in any white space. Go down to the very bottom and click that properties button. There you go. So you should have your properties on the top like that. Now you can see, now that's the coffee table. So you click that. Yep, you can change it to, it looks like you made a dining table. Yep, there you go.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. Just like that, not easy.
Cool, thank you.
I would go move it in your actual plan view, right? So
Yeah.
go to your L1 construct. Well, I don't think that's the same. That's a plan view for a different project. So
would it be this one?
No, because we clicked the close inactive tabs. Every tab that you have open is a different project right now. So I don't go click that 3D one on the far right. I think that's the one that's your. Now go into your left-hand side into the project browser at the bottom, and you can click the level 1 construction 246 plan view. There you go. Click that. Double click it or open it up, whatever. And no, click off it and back onto it. There you go. Now there's your plan view. There's your table at the bottom right, and you can click it.
All right, thank you.
All right. Anything else before we sign off? Right on. Cool. Well, I'll get this video converting and get those, get the video, and then I'll save those screenshots as the individual table sizes.
Thank you.
Let me know about those round legs.
Yeah, I will. I'll figure it out tomorrow, I'm sure. I don't know why it's like they change some little things once in a while, and that bugs me. But
hopefully it's something simple, but
it is. It's something. It won't be hard because I do it all the time with it. Just I don't know why it's doing it here. So we might have to cut something out of it or do something. But I do it with voids all the time. So it's not like I've got a penetration family that just stretches and grows based on the diameter. So it's easy. I just don't know why it wasn't setting up the right way. So I'll figure it out and I'll let you know.
Thanks, man.
Right on.
See you.
All right. Thank you.
What table did you want? Was it the?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Coffee table.
With the okay. All right.
Cool.
I got one of the tables in my
There you go.
project.
There you
but
go. Right on.
anyways, all right, yeah, all right. I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll hit you up. I need to set up the schedules on mine, or
Okay.
I figured out how to make the sheets, but I need to.
Okay.
I'll send you an email, pick your brain a little bit on that.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Bye.
Bye.